now time to begin our board meeting for the Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation. May I have a roll call, please?
Beverly Raymond. Here. Kayla Jacobs. Jerry LeBeau. Morris Albright.
Here.
Ingrid Holmes. Daryl Anderson.
Here.
Melvin Getwood. You have a quorum.
We have a copy of our minutes from the February 19th regular board meeting. May I have a motion to approve it?
Make a motion.
That's been moved by Mr. Albright and second by Dr. Getwood. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have communications. Mr. Stokes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Two things to bring to the director's attention. Just a reminder that next Saturday, a on-site provision for sales tax workshop will be provided to you. In addition to that, Attorney Zach will be handling the Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act in the afternoon of next Saturday. So for those of you who can make it, looking forward to that. And then on the 23rd of next month, it will be the Chamber's annual leadership summit at the Civic Center. And we will probably have a table for that. So hopefully your schedule will allow you to attend. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Next, we have, see you again, reports, CEO report.
Okay. Thank you again, Mr. President. In your packet is the report for this month covering last month's major activities. A couple of things that I want to specifically discuss this evening. One is staffing update. I'll get into the activities that are going on in terms of our openings. Before I do that, though, I want to just introduce some different faces that are in the room. First, with us, joining us this evening is our administrative temporary worker who's joining just to sit in for tonight and to get an idea of how this goes. Ms. Saudi Garcia, sitting back here, and so the folks can see you. And it's been a real blessing to have. And then I'm going to shift it over to Deputy Mueller.
Let's see. Okay. We also have one of our newest employees, Mr. Khan Ha. He is joining the EDC as our facilities maintenance worker. So he is our newest addition. He is a permanent employee, so you all will be seeing more of Mr. Ha. He may be delivering items to you all every once in a while. So we wanted to let you all get to know him. He's already acclimated to our organization. He's done a very good job thus far.
In addition to those fresh faces, Deputy Mueller and I, as we mentioned to you last month, we are fully underway in the recruitment of someone to fulfill the business attraction, retention, and expansion position, as well as our open workforce and community development position. Just a reminder, those are two positions that are brand new to the EDC. I mentioned to you last month that back at the end of January, our colleagues in Human Resources posted those two positions within the city's website. Ms. Mueller and I followed that up a week later by posting it, both positions on the Texas Economic Development Council's career board. That is exposed to 1,100 members' desktops automatically. In addition to that, we posted it on the International Economic Development Council's career site. That exposed the two postings to 20,000 folks worldwide. And then lastly, we posted it on Next Move Group, major site selection firm, on their career board, which exposes the postings to 40,000 desktops automatically. We are pleased with the applications that we are receiving so far, and we will get underway with interviewing for those positions this coming Monday. Beyond that, the other thing that, from my report, that I wanted to just touch base on verbally is our overall workforce and youth development programs. For those of you who've been on the board since last fall, when we lost the staffer that primarily focused on those programs, the programs have continued on, but to say the least, under a severe amount of duress. We'll continue on, and as I mentioned, we are currently recruiting for the workforce and community development position. But even if that person started tomorrow, it would take them some while to get up to speed on our programs that have been long going. So I am currently looking at some options to make sure that our programs stay in place. We get the scholarships out and get those people in the program, as well as the youth education and our summer and work programs, keeping those on schedule, keeping those running. I hope to bring those options to you at your April meeting in a couple of weeks for your consideration. And with that, Mr. President, I'll entertain any questions.
So the scholarship program is not going to be on hold, it's just that.
We're gonna try and keep it on with, even though we're extremely short-staffed, we do not want anyone to be penalized because we're short-staffed. So we're gonna do everything we can to just keep things, externally it looks like things will just be moving on normal. Internally, yeah, we're trying to roll up our sleeves and double up our efforts.
So the information have already been sent out to the school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Also,
ma'am.
the summer work program, I was looking at 2023, and we had approved the salary of $13 per hour for at least up to 20 students.
Yes, ma'am,
Okay.
18, yes.
Okay, and so I noticed that we only had like 6 students participating. And I understand you have a shortage of staff,
Yes, ma'am.
but what's your plan to help include more students into that program?
Well, one of the things that as we bring folks on, we'll get back into the marketing of the programs. As you know, ma'am, even though there was a gap, keeping up with it, we were not able to get the word out on the street as diligent as we would like. So again, with bringing these new folks on, especially the person that will focus on workforce and community development, one of their primary focuses will be, we'll hit the street, and even if we got to go door to door, mouth to mouth, let's get the word back out that we're still in business for those particular programs. And in addition to that, like I said, I plan on bringing to you at your April meeting some options that will also perhaps help make sure that we keep things running.
One more question. Out of the 6 students, were any of them hired to the position? I think one was health department. I don't know why we echoing. The health department, how many of those 6 students were employed after the summer program? Or did they went on to attend another technical school, or went on to school, or were they?
And all the reports that we got, the employers were happy with their services, so that's always the key to making sure that they do stay on. But there just happened to be other options that they were looking at. And that's another thing, we want to make sure that we are putting folks in places where if the employer is liking what they're seeing, that they can go ahead and bring the person on permanent, and that there is something attractive to the student to want to stay, because there's an investment being made. And we want folks to stay, because that keeps our employers wanting to come back and take on the folks that we're providing. Two-way street, it's three things.
Where's the financial report?
I saw the financial officer just walk out. She may be at the printer, or it may be in my inbox. And she was working on it just as we were walking in. So if it's not there, then I'll make sure you have it before you go. She was probably trying to wave at me, and I was busy talking to you.
Mr. Stokes, I needed to ask, I had a request that 4 items be placed on this week Board of Agenda for discussion. And would you, in your report to the board tonight, provide the board with your reason for not including my request agenda items on this agenda?
Happy to. Sir, I don't control the agenda. It's the Board of Directors' agenda. I'm not a member of the Board of Directors. All I do is facilitate the generation of the hard copy of the reports. I don't approve or disapprove anything going on you all's agenda.
So who would I be talking to then?
The person to your left.
Okay, Anderson. First of all, let me ask you a question. Have y'all been doing agenda reviews?
Except this month, we ran out of time, but yes, we do.
You have been doing for the last 3 or 4 months with the attorney?
To the extent I can remember, I can barely remember yesterday, but yes, this month we did not.
What? Okay, I'll ask you, Mr. Anderson, the same question then.
So, I don't want to get off the agenda, but those.
We ain't off the agenda. We're on his report.
We are off the agenda, but I'll answer your question.
We'll talk in there where they can hear you.
So what I'm going to say is this. It's not on the agenda, and I'm going to answer the question after the meeting, since it was brought to me the way it was brought to me. Okay? What's the next question?
Also need clarification how it's handled, because he's saying that the board approved the agenda items, and now he's saying you approved the agenda items. So even though that's okay, you can answer at the end of the meeting. We need to know exactly what's the problem, why we cannot put, because I had some items as well. Now, he did include in his report, so therefore I was able to answer some questions regarding that. But we never had this problem before. When I was serving the board, anytime a board member put an agenda item down, I don't understand what's the problem, why it cannot be included on the agenda. So you can answer it at the end of the meeting, but I just want to make sure that that question is answered before we leave tonight. Thank you.
Duly noted.
Now, one other thing I just want to know, since you're not going to report it right now, this is the 4th month y'all refuse to put my stuff on the agenda. Just want to let you know that.
And Mr. President, that completes my report.
Moving on to unfinished business. Agenda item number 1, to review, discuss the possible action regarding entering into a purchase agreement associated with the purchase of approximately 1.25 acres of PAEDC land owned southwest of Highway 73 and to the southeast of Highway 73 and to the southwest of 9th Avenue. May I have a motion, please? I've been moved by Ms. Raymond and second by Mr. Morris. Mr. Stokes.
Directors, I'm going to ask that this get continued on. We, myself as well as Attorney Zech's team, have been in contact with the purchaser. They are actually deliberating on expanding their potential purchase. So we want to give them more time to deliberate on that, and hopefully they would have made a decision and we'll have all the final paperwork for you at your April meeting.
So, thank you. I have been moved and second to table unfinished business. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Non-consent agenda items. Agenda item number 1, to review, discuss the possible action regarding the approval of the transfer of property at 900 Business Park Drive within the Port Arthur Economic Development Spur 93 Business Park from the seller Iron Pearl LLC to the buyer Tuffle Company Inc. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Morris and second by Ms. Raymond. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to hand this off to Deputy Mueller.
Okay, board members, this item on your agenda today is simply a request for your all approval for the transfer of property. This is just a transaction of the property owner. It will continue to have the tenant Motion Industries on that property, so there's no change in the use of the property. It is just simply a transfer from one property owner to another one. And according to your covenants and restrictions for the business park, it does require the board of directors to be notified and have the board of directors approval for it.
I'd like a copy of the covenants. So anytime somebody wants to sell their business in Business Park, it has to come before us?
We are, I am requesting a more clear, clarification from our attorneys on that, because the way it reads, it does seem as if the board has to approve the sale of land, although there have been transfers in the past that were not brought to the board. So I think we just need to clarify that and maybe make an amendment to where there's more clear language in there that specifies whether the board has to approve or not, or just be notified.
Okay, because, I mean, it makes sense if they're still under agreement, but Motion isn't under agreement anymore. I doubt it.
Motion Industries is actually under an incentive agreement with us currently, but the seller is not.
Okay. Thank you.
And we will get you a copy of the covenants as they are right now.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 2, review, discussion, and possible action regarding the ratification of the award of a bid and contract to MK Contractors for the emergency rehabilitation of the Business Park lift station. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Morris and second by Dr. Getwood. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, sir. In continuing the conversations that we had with the directors last month regarding the lift station and its the circumstances that we're having in terms of it being under capacity for our customers, most notably MPW. After conversations with the city manager and his executive staff, we decided, and in consultation with Attorney Zach, we decided to deploy our emergency procuring services to go ahead and identify 3 bidders for the services of replacing the lift station in conjunction with our engineering consultant that's doing the design and engineering. A contractor was selected, and between yourselves ratifying this, hopefully, and City Council taking care of that week after next, that allows us to go ahead and proceed on this emergency basis and get, at long last, this lift station replaced so that our customers can start getting the uses out of the park that they expected to get, and again, most especially MPW.
Mr. Stokes, I'm noticing they're in the budget amendment on this.
I'm sorry?
I'm noticing that there's not a budget amendment for this.
No, what we did, an amendment would come if in fact we were going to stretch the originally proposed budget that we're operating under. In this particular case, we just moved money from development that we know we're not going to use as we're sitting here in almost April to cover this emergency requirement. So therefore, no amendment needed to be made. We're not changing the budget.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
This particular lift station will accommodate the volume that is being received at this particular company, and will it also, in the future, accommodate the other buildings, or if they decided to expand, would be covered. Because I see a lot of information regarding what they're going to do, but I don't know the size. I understand they have different sizes of lift stations, so I was concerned about making sure that they are accommodating, as well as any future companies that may come in.
Yes, ma'am. This will accommodate MPW's proposed expansion. Nobody else on the park comes near what their usage happens to be. Having said that, once we get this in place, we are going to authorize a major study to look at the infrastructure for the entire park for the next 20 to 30 years. And we expect to have that underway. We didn't want to have the engineers working on both things, so as soon as this gets settled, we're going to launch into that. But the short answer to your question is this will take care of folks for their immediate needs, takes care of MPW's expansion, but we still have more to do.
Now, I was looking at the contract, and I see where the city manager signed. That's normal for the city manager to sign an agreement. And also, like you mentioned about the money to cover this particular lift station, is the city going to help us with this, since it is an emergency situation, and the city is going to take care of it after it is installed? So that's the reason why. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Let me go in reverse. Yes, we will collaborate on its overall maintenance because we're connecting to the city's equipment. In terms of the payment, because of the emergency services, we can move faster because we're not under the same procurement as the city. So if in fact we had tapped into their funds ahead of time, this wouldn't even be in front of you tonight because the city council would have had to approve it at the end of March, and we would have had a very unhappy client. So this allows us to move a lot quicker than otherwise would have been the case. As far as Mr. Burton's signature, that had to be on there because we are partnering with that emergency. It has to go through him, and he had to also take the city council a ratification, but he can't do that until you all do it. So his signature indicates that he has approved this, and he will be taking it to the city council after the board of directors have taken it up here.
No, from what I understand from the city manager, I think the business park, well, the west side, the Port Acres area, wastewater treatment plant, I think he says that 75 or 80%. And so whenever they do this study and everything else, you're either going to have to upgrade the wastewater treatment plant or build one on site.
If I could comment on it, very timely comments, Director Albright, because this morning Deputy Miller and I hosted a site visit by a client that is looking to perhaps locate nearby this. And we had all of the various city as well as the normal contractors that we would use in the room, close to 30 people. Long story short, one of the things that was discussed, that it is hitting the 75%, which mandates by TCEQ that the study has to be done. So we're going beyond whether we want to or not. It's now mandatory. Good point.
And they did bring that up, I think, over a year about the study, and that most likely we would have to upgrade. So again, it is due, way overdue.
So, Mr. Stokes, did you answer her question? Was the city going to foot up some of the money or not?
The short answer is I don't know as we sit here because I haven't really concerned myself with that. We needed to act quickly. And so everyone came together, including Attorney Zach and his team. Let's get this through in the most appropriate legal way, and we can move faster. Once we get this going, I'll be more than happy, and Mr. Burton isn't going anywhere. We'll sit down and talk about, we can share cost on the study. There's all kinds of ways where this can be a collaboration. But in terms of it doing it in advance, like I mentioned to Director Raymond, we had a need for speed. And then we can come back and have those further conversations. Good point.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 3. Review, discuss, and possible action regarding the ratification of engaging industrial and commercial maintenance to furnish the install of 2 HVAC condensing coils at 549 Fort Street. May I have a motion, please? It's been moved by Mr. Albright and second by Dr. Getwood. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, sir. I am going to also send this over to the keeper of the press building, Deputy Mueller.
Okay, this agenda item, this is another emergency purchase that we had to do, and we are asking you all to ratify this engagement of ICM. They are our current servicer for our HVAC units here and over at 549. We do have our flex rooms over there that are constantly being used by different users for meetings and all, and those specific rooms in that area of the building, the AC unit has failed because of those condensing coils. So we do have to replace those. We've got several events coming up, including your retreat next Saturday. So we did move on an emergency basis for this to get those replaced.
Crystal, on this here, how old is these units?
They are just over 2 years old, so they're just out of warranty, unfortunately.
That's all the warranty was, is 2 years?
Yes.
Is the maintenance being kept up on those units? Because I know last month we approved further maintenance to be done. So I guess after they did the maintenance on it last month, that's when I found out about the situation. So is the maintenance being kept up on the units every quarterly or is it monthly? Is
Yes.
it quarterly or monthly?
It's quarterly.
Quarterly.
Yes,
It's been
ma'am.
kept-
So the maintenance has been ongoing. Last month, you all approved to renew that maintenance agreement so that it doesn't lapse. So it has been ongoing.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we're going to move into executive session. A closed meeting or executive session will be held pursuant to the following sections of the Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, Section 551071, and Section 551. The time is 6:37, and we're now ready to move back into our regular session. May I have a roll call, please?
Beverly Raymond. Kayla Jacobs. Jerry LaBeouf. Morris Albright. Ingrid Holmes. Daryl Anderson.
Here.
Melvin Getwood. We have a quorum.
All right. So we have no items coming out of executive session to handle. I believe Mr. Stokes has something he wants to say.
Yes, just want to follow up. I do not see the reports at your desk, so let me figure out where they are on the printer, and we'll send them to you electronically. You'll get those post-haste, and I do apologize for them not being in your packet. I'm going to assume technical difficulties that sometimes happen, but you will get it post-haste.
There be nothing else. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Negative. No.
No.
Future agenda items.
Future agenda items? What I miss?
Back page.
Okay. What was there?
Future agenda items are requests for reports. Items for future agenda consideration of reports.
What is this?
It's been there forever.
Huh. So it's been there forever, and what, I just read this? Yes, okay. Items for future agenda Consideration or reports from staff may be requested, but no discussion of any item or request shall take place. And now,
Yeah, I have 4 items to be put on there. Were we going to discuss them or not? You said you was going to discuss it later.
what I said was I'm going to discuss with you why your items were not put on the agenda.
You discussed with me?
Yeah.
No, we'll discuss with the whole board.
Okay, well, we'll put it on the agenda for next meeting to discuss how we put agenda items on them.
I know how to put the agenda items.
That's real easy.
No,
It's real easy.
we changing up because the way we done it is we went through the secretary and the CEO, and now you're involved.
The president has always been involved.
No,
That's
that's how it was. When Terry Stokes came, he changed it that we had almost 2 weeks, and I have the paperwork right here, how we done the agenda. We went for 1 month, and that was the last time we ever did it again. We've been doing what we're supposed to do. It went from 5 days to 5 business days. But like I said, this is 4 months.
so you have a request for agenda items because we read this little thing at the end of the meeting that we
That's
never
good.
ever read. So you go ahead and read your agenda items and then we'll move on.
I want to,
Mr. President, at one point, I thought within the last year, there was a process or procedure put in place dealing with agenda items. I don't know if it was supposed to be part of the bylaws or how it was going to be addressed. And if I'm incorrect, I stand to be correct.
Well, I will just speak to that. Back in November, December, the Board of Directors approved the implementation of a policy and procedures manual, and within that, the body of that particular document describes what you're articulating.
I have a question for you. If the city council approved, I understand the city council technically not acting.
At a joint meeting in December with the City Council, Attorney Exec gave a presentation and he explained to the City Council that as far as the policies and procedures manual, that is not something that they needed to take up for approval. The bylaws, yes, and they're currently reviewing those. You're right. The policy and procedure manual is within you all's jurisdiction. The bylaws of the corporation, gosh, I'm getting feedback, I apologize. The bylaws of the corporation are the conduction of the legal business. The policies and procedures, the bylaws doesn't speak to, for example, the adding of agenda items. It used to, and that's why that was stripped out and put into policies and procedures, because that was not a legal thing. And so one of the things that Attorney Zecca did explain to the City Council was that one of his primary goals in redoing the bylaws was to get them in accordance with current law and current best practices. So the answer to your question is bylaws for the corporation govern everything, but in terms of nuances like this, the policy and procedures manual speaks to how you will go about those particular processes.
And what I would suggest that the newer members or returning members get a copy of it, because I have not received a copy, and I don't think any of us, the people that just returned last month, got a copy of it, because this changed. I don't know, Mr., you were here, you didn't get a copy
what's that?
of the policy and procedures, the new policy and procedures. This need to make sure everybody get a copy of it, so we all be on the same page.
You got it.
What I understood from Zach when we had our little bylaw meeting or whatever, he didn't like some of the stuff that was on the bylaws. He wanted to move it to policy and procedures. Now, this is the second thing I understand that was changed, not just moved, but changed. So what else has been changed in policy and procedures that we didn't know about? One of them is your travel.
Sir, you're directing the question to me, and it's kind of troubling because.
Well, aren't you the boss man?
Okay, wait.
Well, let me finish.
Anderson.
I'm not a member of the board of directors. The policy and procedures manual was approved unanimously, including yourself.
Right,
back in
right.
November. So now you're basically asking, well, how did something change
Yeah, okay.
For clarity, I think I heard you say, Mr. Stokes, that the bylaws are something different than the policy.
You're gonna ride them down, man.
Is that right? That's correct. I'm sorry?
I wasn't talking to you.
I didn't know you were.
No, I'm not talking to you.
That's fine, sir. I have no problem with that.
So what has changed then with the bylaws?
I'm talking to Mr. Stokes.
Go for it.
Mr. Stokes, the policy and procedures manual, that is in place as we speak, right? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Except for the changes. Except for the, okay, the agenda, item. We're trying to figure out about the agenda, item, 'cause we never had this problem since I was on the.
So let me give some clarity real quick so we don't keep going in circles. This is what I'm trying to avoid. Somebody will make sure everyone gets a copy of the new policy and procedures. What we can also do is, for those that are coming back, the way it was written, there's some language there. It was paralleled on a document where you can see what it was and what it is now, as the changes are. You may want to actually get a copy of the proposed new bylaws as well. I don't know if you need all of that or not, but I know as far as the policy and procedures, look at both of those things to see how things are different. The idea is not to do what I believe is being assumed, but it's really not. So moving forward, let's just get on the same page as far as those procedures that we have in place, and just utilize those items. So we'll get those out. Can we get those out ASAP? So we can look at those, and then we can bring back questions and concerns at the next meeting. Anything else on this?
So what's the procedure right now? If I waste my time putting this on there, you're gonna kick it off again?
How about you
that right?
give me your items? And let me say this. So you see, we Lord help me. Okay, I'm trying to say this as clear as possible. Some things that we want to put on the agenda are questions that need to be asked to the people that have the answers. It does not require a board vote or anything else. I try my best to get those questions answered without having to come and, spend a whole lot of extra time on questions that you may have, okay? I try to get you clarity, get your answer back. Now, if there's items that are coming forward that the board needs to be privy of, there's information that needs to be given, something that's, everybody needs to know, everybody has a concern about, then you're talking about something completely different. And correct me if I'm wrong, if you receive those answers, I haven't seen anything to really come back to say that that's not the answer I was looking for. So that's the idea behind the whole thing. Now, I didn't want to get into all of that because I don't like doing all that on camera, and I'm saying it out loud. So the idea is just to move the meeting in a business manner without any of the extra rigmarole. That's all I'm saying. So you give me your items. If you want them on there that bad, we'll just put them on there, but we're not going to do anything that's not business related on the agenda. That's all I'm saying. At that point, a motion to adjourn?
No,
No,
wait, son.
you asked to put them on.
Oh,
Put
I'm
them
sorry.
on.
You got to.
Can I ask for a legal opinion at this point, please? Sure. Regarding the next steps as this might move forward, I'd like a legal opinion.
It's my understanding that Mr. has 4 items that he has wanted to place on the agenda. I believe, going off this meeting's agenda, the last section there is new agenda items. I believe the proper procedure would be for him to request that a discussion of the agenda process, if there's a question, and his 4 items be placed on the agenda is now appropriate under that particular agenda item.
So at this point, does he have to read said agenda items?
He does not need to read them, no, if he wants to write them out.
He hasn't written out. You want to read them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have policies and procedures on there?
What's that?
Do you have policies and procedures on there? Okay.
Yeah, I want to discuss with the board and possible action that all CEO travel outside the Golden Triangle shall be approved by the board. And I have all this in writing and I can give it to Joni and that's way she can take care of it. And all CEO invoices must be approved by the board prior to reimbursement. To discuss with the board and the possible CEO action that the board receives a monthly financial update report of the organization finances from the CEO. To discuss the board and possible action on board members placing agenda items on the agenda, which we already talked about, based on the CEO's prior email, which I guess is gone.
I'd like to place policies and procedures on the agenda, and to my recollection, the policies and procedures update does not have anything to say about how agenda items will be placed. And there's a couple other things that are missing from it. Now, that being said, I also want to put duties and responsibilities of the CEO for executive session.
Item I would like to add, to include what he said, is duties, responsibility of the CEO and the deputy CEO as well.
Now, for future items, such as we're gonna have a meeting, what, 2 weeks? Now, maybe close to it? And we want to put something on the agenda, what do we do?
We're gonna have a discussion at the next meeting, and it's gonna clarify all of
Yeah,
it.
but that's next meeting. But I'd want to put something on for next meeting.
You just did.
Yeah, but I can put something else on.
Just 1 second. He is going to make sure everyone get a copy of the amended bylaws as well as the policy and procedure before the next meeting. That way, when we discuss it, we get the questions from, am I correct, President Anderson?
That's what I stated.
Okay.
You have anything else? Now, can we call for a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. We adjourn. All in favor? All right, I'll see y'all in 2 weeks.